Hello everyone, Steven from Scarecrow Miniature Painting here, and today we are going to work on the green dragon we zenithal highlighted in the last episode, along with, we might get to the, what do they call it, afflicted elf. So, a couple things are changing with the channel and how we operate. We will be posting more on TikTok, which isn't to say that we won't post here. However, a lot of our content will show up primarily on TikTok. And the reason we are doing that is because we have decided that with a larger following over there than over here, it's easier for us to go live over there and everything like that with some of our other friends that are content creators over there. Now, like I said in a prior video, if you guys can get us up to 50 views, I'll do the vampires here. If not, I am going to have to move those over to TikTok. I grabbed the wrong brush. I need this brush right here. Yep, that's exactly what I need. Okay. So, we're going to start with, you can't see it, the dragon. How we are going to be doing business is I will do 30 minutes here, and then I will do 30 minutes to an hour on TikTok live, if there's a live going with my friends. That won't happen until I do reach 1,000 followers on TikTok. But once again, if you are following me here, go follow me over there. It is greatly appreciated. But once we do get 1,000 followers over there, we may do lives primarily over there. We are looking into getting a Twitch, like I said in a previous episode. Or that might have actually been on TikTok as well. But our main goal is to grow as a community. I'm not trying to be Squidmar. I'm not trying to be Ninjon. I'm not trying to be Dr. Faust. I'm trying to be me. If there is anything in my content that you guys do not resonate with, let me know and I will see if I can't work on it. And then what we will do is, like I said, we will just work on it. That's the main goal of the channel, is to grow as a community and to build upon everything that we have already laid the ground for. So, one thing I do want to show first is how these paints work with the zenithal highlights. So I'm going to do a little bit of black, a little bit of green up here. And these are going to be the same two colors. I want to make, or the same color, just on two different primers. I do want to make that clear. So, there's on the white. As you can see, it's more of a wash. I am going to have to add a little bit more paint to it. But there's on the black. So the white's a little bit brighter than the black, which is what we're going for when we do zenithal highlighting. Another thing we could have done with these would have been once we had primed it to go over the entire miniature in a gray wash, or even before we've primed on white, go over with gray primer. And that would have gave us a gray highlight to add to that gradient as well. So I'm going to focus on the wings first because that's the largest portion we have to work with on this figure. Now this is a green dragon wormling from Nosler, so we are going to, unlike my usual techniques where I usually jump around and skip from skip the actual source material, we are going to stick to this source material for the dragons. Any dragons we do, I am sticking to source material. That's just how I am. There was a red dragon I had done years ago, and I stuck as close to the source material as I could with that. There were some things I changed up on it because I didn't feel like that really fit my dragon. But for the most part, we kept strictly to what Wizards of the Coast had said red dragons look like. But we're just going to paint this entire thing. Now we are going to do multiple coats, so you will see the gradients even more. This is just us trying to get the green on there to make sure that everything is covered evenly. And we actually do have a nice gradient on this already, because if you watched the last video that we uploaded, we included a specific line of light, as I call it. And what I mean by line of light is when you're doing zenithal highlighting, where you're highlighting is where the light is coming from. So we primed him this way with the light on top, light coming from that way. So all of this is going to be shadow. But as you can see, that right there is a little bit lighter. This wing right here is a little bit lighter than this wing. And that's what we are going for with this figure. So the wings are done, so we're going to start moving into the body. Just like with the other green, we're just going to take it over the top. We will add multiple layers to everything on this miniature. Right now, it's just getting the base coat on there. So for the eyes, we are going to be doing demonic yellow for his eyes, and we are actually going to incorporate some of the techniques I've been trying to teach for a while on the channel in a more in-depth view, because it is going to be easier to see those eyes. But we want to make sure that we get everything on this miniature completely base coated, I should say. It's already primed. And we will, of course, be going back to it once we got everything base coated. We will be doing any highlighting and details that we need to do on it. So this video may actually just be the start of a series that may pick up later on. How I do my business is commissions come first. So if there's a commission that I'm working on at the time of a video going up, it will be put on pause since these are my personal miniatures. For reference, I have a friend who is sending me 3 Warhammer figures, and they are going to be 3 Tyranid warriors, and we are going to paint them up. And he is going to use them as a display. So as you can see, I'm not really giving a rhyme or reason of what I'm painting over, because those are all small details that are already being populated and popping through with the white, and they will still be there when we come back over them. Right now our goal is to make sure we get everything base coated and ready for the future of the model. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything on the miniature itself, trying to make sure that we get all of those tiny recesses covered, going back over with it to make sure we hit everything and make sure that there's no white showing and no black showing through on any of the wings. Doing a second base coat on those wings now. And when we're doing this, we're not trying to blend in any of the smaller details of the miniature. We're just trying to get the body painted to where there's no primer showing through, to where everything looks uniform, as if you could not tell that this was primed the way it was. I'm gonna have to add a little bit more paint because I'm running out, but that's what we have so far. So I mean, it's definitely a green dragon. Is it the cleanest green green dragon? No, not by a long shot. But that's not the goal, to get clean. Cleaning it up will be a later goal. But we're just gonna add a little bit more paint, a little more water. To it. Mixy mixy. And then I'm just going to clean my brush real quick because some of that paint's getting in the film. And that's one thing you don't want to do, is have it get the paint up there, because then it's going to be a pain to clean later. So I'm just letting that dry a little bit in some of the recesses, and I'm going to continue painting over everything. Because this black wing and the side that is more black is going to be an issue. I can already tell you that much, because I gotta get underneath it to hit that leg more. So let's see here. We got pretty light on top. Pretty dark on bottom. I'd say it's starting to look good. Okay. So I'm going to wash my brush off a little bit. We're going to move on to the next figure, because that one is done with the base coats. So, how we're going to do this figure, is we're going to start with tan flesh. That is going to be our base coat. That is usually our base coat for all of our skin tones. It is my preference. It may not be everyone's, but it is my preference for all of my skin tones. I find it easier to manipulate and contort into what I need it to be. So we're just going to take it over the hands. We're going to leave some of what looks like the hand openly visible. And the only reason we're doing that is because that's actually not his hand, that is his hair. Okay, so that was not what I wanted to do with that, but that works. So his hair, we are going to do black. We are reaching almost to our time limit, but we only have a few more things that we're going to do, such as his shirt and his pants and shoes after we do his hair. And his hair, we honestly could have left it the way it was, because I'm just going to go over it with a matte black. I know what you're thinking, Steven, if you were going to do matte black anyway, why didn't you just leave the hair black? That's a good question. So, when you paint black over white, it still leaves a highlight. It's just not as bright of a highlight. So I'm just going to touch up the face real quick with where black may have gotten or where we didn't get enough of it on it. And let's go to the green. So his shirt is going to be green just like the dragon. So the shirt's going to be pretty simple. Just do a quick base coat across the miniature. Now, one thing I do enjoy about Army Painter line, even with their new Fanatics out, they do have colored primers. So a lot of the colors that I'm using here today, you could use in place of it. So for instance, instead of me priming in white, I could have just primed the whole thing in green, since the green is going to be the most accented color on it. Or I could have done it in blue or whatever color I chose the shirt besides green, or I could have done it in tan flesh even. They really do try to make it to where whatever your goal is as a painter, that they have an answer for you. And they're very new painter friendly. They're how I started. So, with that done, we're going to move on to the pants. And you all know me. I like my somewhat washes. What I mean by a somewhat wash is smoke. When we did the tabaxi, I was a little iffy on how the smoke would work for it. However, I found, since it's supposed to be a wood grain, I thought that smoke left the miniature in the perfect stance of, okay, this is leather pants. You can see all the ridges of the leather. You can make out what it's supposed to be. So what I'm doing is I'm practically adopting smoke into all of my pants. And the sole reason that is because I just enjoy how the color looks. I think it makes the miniatures have more detail than I personally could do had I just painted it myself. And then that'll give us a chance to dry brush in the orange leather for the highlights, or use orange leather for the highlights. Because that's the whole point of this video series, is highlighting. I know every other YouTuber who does miniature painting, it focuses on highlights and how to make your miniatures pop and everything else under the sun that they say. However, we aren't just here to make your miniatures pop. We're also here to make sure that you are enjoying the hobby. That is our goal. So if I can give you a unique color palette to use with multiple different paint companies and you enjoy it, my job as a painter is complete. So, for the boots, I debated on leaving them white. I debated on making them the leather orange. I debated on making them tan. We are going to use chocolate brown. We already have some water in there, which is perfect, because this brown does need to be thinned down severely. When we used it on the tabaxi, it was pretty thick. But I do enjoy this color as well. I think it would be a good accent. I thought it would be a good accent color to that smoke, especially since they are from the same line and same company. Now, one thing you can definitely do with zenithal highlighting is what's called the slap chop method. Now, here's what the slap chop method is. I personally am not a fan of it. I enjoy speed paints. I think that under the right circumstances, they are nice. Um, and speed paint, contrast paint, they're all the same thing. Um, like I said, I am 50-50 on them. Um, but when you zenithal highlight, if you use your speed paints after you give it a wash, before you even put down any color, it will darken those recesses even more. But this is what we have so far. We have our elf, who is clearly deranged. And that's what I'm saying. Like, look at the pants. Let me try to focus that. It almost looks like we're splitting them. And let me do a second coat of smoke on the back there. I might have missed that now that I'm looking at that. Nope. I got that. It's just how the pants are. But we'll do a whole second coat of smoke just to be safe. But it just highlights those recesses so well and leaves it looking like leather to the point where even the back of the pants are darkened. And as you can see, like that's still wet. We went through the entire figure that way. Cannot recommend smoke enough. With that, we are going to call this video done. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you. Bye.